Hello everyone and welcome to the Tristan channel. I wanted to do this video because in a past video this aspect was brought up and it's something that I personally experience. The traditional model of sexual orientation often treats bisexuality as a fixed point on a linear continuum, equally attracted to two genders. However, the lived reality for many bisexual and multisexual individuals is far more complex and fluid. For a significant portion of the bisexual community, the experience of attraction is deeply intertwined with their gender expression, leading to internal shifts and external presentations that appear to be context-dependent. This dynamic can manifest as fluctuating feelings about gender, sometimes called the bi-gender cycle, or, in more acute instances, a type of situational distress that mirrors aspects of gender dysphoria. This is driven not by an internal conflict with one's assigned sex, but by the external binaristic pressures of partner-gendered perception. Bisexuality as a foundation for gender fluidity is often defined by the capacity for attraction to more than one gender, inherently destabilizing the gender binary as a primary determinant of desire. This fluidity of attraction often correlates with a parallel fluidity in self-perception and presentation. Many bisexual individuals report experiencing what's often called the bi-cycle, which is basically a temporal fluctuation in the gender composition of their attraction. So, for example, there might be periods where someone feels a stronger attraction to women, and then later on, that attraction shifts and becomes stronger towards men or non-binary people. This kind of fluctuation can be really deeply internalized, and honestly, it can even lead to the individual's own sense of gender expression shifting in response. Gender expression is, in a lot of ways, a social performance. It's the outward manifestation of your internal gender identity, shown through things like clothing, mannerisms, and aesthetics. For a bisexual person, this expression can actually become relational, almost like a dynamic element within the chemistry of a relationship. For instance, an individual might find themselves leaning into a more conventionally masculine expression when they're attracted to or partnered with a very feminine person, or maybe adopting a more femme presentation when dating someone who's more masculine, or, the other way around. It's not necessarily a conscious performance of changing gender identity, but rather, it's often an unconscious adjustment of gender expression to complement the relational dynamic. It can play into this perceived need for balance or contrast within the pair. The phenomenon of relational gender expression. It's fascinating, really. It highlights that gender isn't just about how we perceive ourselves, but also about how others perceive us and how we interact with them. Imagine a person who generally identifies as gender neutral. They might find themselves using signifiers of one gender when navigating a same-sex relationship, and signifiers of another when in a different sex relationship. It's all about the dynamic, isn't it? So, let's take, for example, a bisexual woman who presents as highly androgynous. She might feel comfortable using more typically masculine clothes and mannerisms when dating a man. This could be an unconscious response to the historical pressure of the traditional couple dynamic. But when she's dating a woman, her expression might shift towards femininity. In this same-sex dynamic, she feels validated in her queer identity, reducing the pressure to externally prove her non-heterosexuality by adopting a more masculine stance. It's quite intriguing how these shifts happen, isn't it? Or, for instance, if a bisexual man is dating another man, he may feel more feminine and choose to present or dress in typical femme colors or expression. It's a beautiful example of how fluid and dynamic gender expression can be, adapting to the relationship and environment. It's all about finding comfort and authenticity in one's identity. These shifts are, like natural experiments in identity and desire, reflecting the versatility inherent to multisexual orientation. Situational distress and pseudo-dysphoria. The more challenging aspect of this dynamic is the potential for situational distress or pseudo-dysphoria. which can arise from the social pressure to fit a binary mold based on the gender of one's partner. This is not classic gender dysphoria, which is a persistent distress arising from an incongruence between one's gender identity and assigned sex, but rather distress caused by the erasure of identity. When a bisexual individual is in a different sex relationship, they are often perceived as heterosexual, leading to the erasure of their bisexuality, which is, biphobia by omission. For a person whose internal gender experience is tied up in their queerness, being socially mislabeled as straight can feel profoundly dissonant. The expectation to perform an externally mandated binary gender role that aligns with a heterosexual identity, often enforced by a heteronormative environment, can create, an uncomfortable internal schism. This feeling of alienation from one's authentic self, triggered by societal misgendering of one's sexuality, can present with symptoms that, resemble dysphoria, anxiety, deep discomfort in one's clothing or presentation, and a profound sense of wrongness. Conversely, bisexual individuals in same-sex relationships may face a different form of erasure. Being perceived as gay or lesbian, this can result in distress when they feel pressure from queer communities to adopt specific gender expressions, like, for example, butch or femme roles that flatten their inherent multisexual complexity. In both scenarios, the core issue is not really about a stable internal desire for a different body, but, the external imposition of a restrictive, simplified identity, whether that's straight or exclusively gay or lesbian, which ends up forcing an inauthentic gender performance. The distress here is, honestly, a reaction to biphobic erasure and these rigid social structures, rather than any sort of conflict with one's core gender identity. However, there's absolutely nothing wrong with gender fluidity, as long as people are reassured and made aware that what they're feeling is natural and just a part of themselves. And while the dysphoria isn't quite the same as what transgender individuals experience when they need to transition, we really do need to remind or educate people on gender fluidity, which is also perfectly normal. Bisexual individuals who experience this because of their attraction need to be made aware of it, so it becomes less confusing and uncomfortable. That way, they can actually embrace it and enjoy it along with their sexuality. So, the relationship between bisexuality, gender expression, and those situational feelings of dysphoria is honestly a really critical area for understanding identity fluidity. It kind of shows that attraction and expression aren't always these, siloed concepts. Instead, they interact in these dynamic relational ways. For many bisexual individuals, fluidity isn't a sign of confusion at all, but rather a feature of their identity, a capacity for versatile self-expression that adapts to, and enriches different relational contexts. Recognizing and validating these shifting expressions is essential, as is deconstructing the binaristic assumptions that lead to the painful experiences of erasure and situational distress. Ultimately, understanding this dynamic is key to fostering an inclusive environment that allows bisexual people to define and express their gender on their own, complex and beautiful terms, independent of who they happen to be dating. So if you're bisexual and suffer a form of gender dysphoria, don't be worried or afraid. This is normal and common in a lot of bisexuals, so embrace it, roll with it, and enjoy it. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video insightful and helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe for more educational and insightful content.